I'm going to need one large sip of coffee for this video. Okay, now we can start. Greetings internet, it's Katie and I'm back today with a brand new video for you guys. And today's video is actually surrounding my latest blog post, which if you guys follow me, my blog is called thekatyproject.com. I compiled a blog post a few days ago called Why We Care About Boys Who Don't Care. And initially I was going to title it something a little raunchier, but I was worried that my mom would be a little offended and upset. And my mom is like the pinnacle of my life, the cornerstone of my existence, so obviously I didn't want to offend her in any way, but my alternate title was an ode to fuckboys. Not that I think it's inappropriate, because to be honest, fuck is my favorite F word besides Friday. I did note in the beginning of the article that you can really swap out any pronoun that I'm about to talk about in this video and in the article with whatever pronoun suits you. I'm all about inclusivity, and I'm really trying to learn more about all the different genders, all the different associations, all the different mindsets that a person could have about their sexuality, and it's really taken me a while just to get it down and be able to say it freely without messing things up, and I hope you guys know that I'm really not trying to leave anyone out when I'm making these videos or making these articles. There's a lot that this world can disagree on, okay? Believe me. But there's one thing that we can all come together and agree on, which is the fact that in any gender, in all genders, there are fuckers. Texting is the worst. You can get in contact with all your friends from all over the world at all seconds of the day, and breaking news right away, right as it happens, and share memes and like have a good laugh, and like phones and texting is a great invention. Steve Jobs, I love my iPhone, you're the best. It's also extremely negative when it comes to romance, because texting, oh my god, it just infuses our lives with so much more anxiety than necessary. The thing that sucks about texting, besides the three-dot bubble and the read receipts and the aspect of screenshotting and sending to people, and that's the actual worst, I have to say, the W-O-A-T, woat, worst of all time. I'm not really sure how to eloquently put this, but texting just generally sucks when you're talking to a boy or a girl. I mean, in my experience, it's a boy. Like when I'm flirting with a boy via text, it's just like, first of all, I lose interest because texting is just like not the real thing. Like I get it, sexting is a whole another beast, but just texting a boy you care about or like, want to get to know is so difficult. I remember so clearly when texting first came out, not really texting, but like when we first started getting our phones. I distinctly remember this moment in my friend's basement when we were all huddling over my one friend who's a little bit more vivacious than the others. There's always that one friend that like gets some when she's like 14 and you're like, how does that work? Like, why don't I have boobs yet? Like that sort of thing. And like that friend of mine was texting this boy like on her flip phone, like all the excess amount of like buttons that you have to press to like say hi. And we were all hovered over her phone like watching her text this boy. It was like the coolest thing when he'd text back. You're like, oh my god, like, oh, what did he say? What did he say? Or like, what did he mean by that? And it really could have been like, hey, WYD, what you doing? And like that would make us like freak out inside. We're like, oh my god, this is love. And still today, when guys reach out to us and communicate with us, it means the absolute world. Like if a guy just shot me a text or something, like it takes like, what, 2.4 seconds to send a good morning text, but like that good morning text will like send a girl to the moon for a full day, maybe 2 days. I don't think there's really a specific reason why it makes us so happy, but it just kind of makes us feel wanted, which every human in this world wants to feel wanted. It means the world to you. And the worst thing, the most crushing feeling, is finding out that you're one of many girls he's texting good morning to. And like a lot of guys are very, very smart. They know how to play girls. By the same token, girls can play boys, but in this video I'm focusing on boys playing girls because it's what I've personally experienced. I'm getting to the point where I'm 21 years old and I've dealt with a lot of these type of situations when boys pay a lot of attention to me for a little bit and then all of a sudden I find out that I'm either not the only one or they ghost me and they don't really care and they leave, that type of thing. So I'm like, damn it, why did I fall for someone like this again? I never fall for the right guys. There was always that like voice in the back of my head that's like, Katie, maybe he's not a good idea. Like maybe he's not gonna be your husband. Maybe you should invest so much time into this. Which I'm always like, yeah, independent woman here doesn't need to invest her time in this. But then there's the other side of me that's like, wow, he's treating me very well. This is very nice. Like it's, nice to hear these things and these compliments and, be taken out to dinner. And it's like, it's nice to hear these things, at the end of the day. Like I feel kind of swept off my feet in the moment of it and I don't really think it through, which is actually pretty scientifically proven, I have found out. I was doing some research on the brain, actually. I get very, like, invested in certain subjects of my life, and then I move on very quickly. Like, I had a shark phase. And yeah, you might be like, Katie, you're a comm major, like, why the heck do you care about the brain? But honestly, guys, it's some pretty interesting stuff goes on up here. When I was writing this article about fuckboys, I was like, maybe there's a scientific reason behind why we care so much why we're so stupid and then we feel stupid. The proof is in the pudding, aka the amygdala. And I hope I'm saying that right, but I'm gonna put it on the screen so you guys can read it. Hopefully all the very actually intelligent people out there will correct me and I will not screw this up later on in my life. So the amygdala in your brain is responsible for detecting signs of danger and risk and uncertainty. It basically is like that, you know, warning sign in your head, like, oh, don't touch that, it's hot, you know, that type of thing. So when you get that like butterflies, fuzzy feeling about a certain person, your amygdala and parts of your frontal lobe, which has to do with judgment, turns off or kind of like goes to sleep a little bit, so it's kind of less effective or like not even effective at all. Your judgment is a little bit hazy when it comes to falling in love because your brain, literally, parts of it just kind of go to sleep for a little bit while you're in love with this person. And then once the fuzzy feelings wear off and the guy's a little jerk to you, your amygdala and the frontal lobe turns right back on and you're like, oh shit, danger, 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 danger. So obviously that's not the sole reason why we feel like this, but it does kind of give me a little bit of peace of mind that's not completely me, but kind of more my brain and a scientific thing that actually happens to everyone. So it's not just me that feels like this, it's everyone because it's a chemical, it's a scientific thing that goes on up in there. I genuinely wish I knew more about the brain. It's kind of annoying that I don't, but you know, I was forced to take galactic astronomy, so that's the only science-based knowledge I know and I got a C, so. Anyway, I feel like it might be all the coffee, but I'm like constantly moving 1,000,000 miles a minute, and my brain does the same thing. I'm constantly considering so many possibilities, thinking about so many things. Like the other day, it dawned on me that I literally am 21, so you know, if I'm going along my mom's path of life, I'll be married in 7 years. That's terrifying. I haven't even like met my husband yet, and 7 years from now, poof, like marriage. My mind was like spiraling out of control, and I was like, oh my god, I can't think of this. Like, I need to take a nap or something. Like, I feel like a lot of times we're so plagued by the uncertainty of relationships and such, which causes us to put our lives on hold. All for the benefit of a stupid boy who's probably off somewhere playing Xbox or something. Like, I feel like there's so much wasted time and wasted opportunities, you know, that we let like go out the window because we're wondering like, oh, will he be the one? I could sit here all day and preach about how we can't waste our lives waiting for boys. I've wanted to practice that forever and ever and ever, but I simply can't because it's like passing by when you're driving down the road and there's like a car accident on the side of the road. And like as sad and as like horrifying as like a car accident is, believe me, like I've been in them before, like you can't not look. You're driving by on a highway, there's all these cars, all these ambulances going on, you have to look. You're just gonna look, you know? Like you can say it's for judgment or just, you know, making sure you're not gonna hit anyone, but let's be real, everyone is curious. Humans are curious creatures and I feel like we should stay curious because that's how life should be. We should always be curious. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know, it's a horrific thing, but you can't not look at it, which is why, you know, when we're faced with fuckboy situations and faced with boys who don't care about us and we almost kind of know in the back of our heads that they don't, we still go after it anyway because we always think like, oh, you know, it's like, I'm just curious. Like, who knows what's gonna happen? And that's how I feel too. Like, believe me, like I'm not sitting here saying like this is how you should live your life because I'm constantly dealing with the same problems every single day. You guys know how I adore my analogies and my metaphors and things like that. So the other day my friend Charlotte told me this analogy about fuckboys, and it basically goes, you know, a fuckboy is kind of like a late night McDonald's endeavor. Like, you know it's bad for you. You know what to expect. Like, you know it's gonna be a greasy bag full of carbs, but you still go anyway because you're either drunk or just tired or like hungry or you know, you just go after it anyway, even though you know what you're gonna expect. And then the next morning you roll over in bed, you look at what you did to yourself, did to your body, you're like, oh my god, like I either ingested that whole bag of carbs or I hooked up with a boy or I, you know, texted a boy something last night when I was drunk or something. And like you look at that and you're like, oh my god, I'm the worst, like that was the worst decision ever. She made the argument that, you know, sometimes McDonald's is okay. Like sometimes, you know, having one of those one-night stands, like I said in my one-night stands video, or, you know, dealing with a boy, that's kind of just like a limited little chase or, you know, something fun and then done. You can't beat yourself up about having one little late night McDonald's endeavor, you know, every once in a while, it's fine. Anyway, so basically, fuckboys are kind of like late night McDonald's endeavors. You know they're bad for you do it anyway, you kind of regret it sometimes. I know this video has been kind of all over the place, but really kind of just to wrap things up, tie up all those loose ends. You know when like a future employer asks you like your best qualities and your worst qualities and the skills you need to work on, like that's like a very constant question on job interviews. No person has ever said like, oh, something I need to work on is caring less. You know, no one's ever said that, and if they have, they're kind of a little bit, you know, something's a little, you know, loose up there because you should never ever be ashamed for caring about people. Someday, all of that caring that you possess in your soul will really be put to good use when you find the person you're supposed to be with, or when you have kids, or, you know, when you meet someone that really makes a profound impact on you, all that caring that you have will come to good use. And you can't, you know, beat yourself up about being a caring person and caring about boys who don't care about you. You simply can't feel like that. And if you do, shame on you for thinking that. Because caring should never be a bad thing. Sometimes dealing with boys who don't care turns people ice cold and makes their hearts shatter and break and stop. If you're anything like me, you're tired, okay? I'm constantly just exhausted with my life. You know, tired, I wanted to start over and be a different person, wake up the next morning and be someone else because I feel like I'm just hopeless. After I deal with one of these situations, I feel restless. I feel like there's something I could have done. Like, what did I do wrong? What could I do to fix this? And I do all these crazy and wild things like text first and double text to boy because I'm just literally restless. I just want to know what I did wrong. What did I do to mess this up? And then when I realized maybe I didn't do anything wrong, then I jumped to the conclusion that there must just be something wrong with me. There must be something that I just don't have. Like, I must be, you know, not skinny enough, or I might, you know, not be cool enough or smart enough. That's what I ultimately come to, is the fact that there's something wrong with me. I might not have a lot of answers, but I do know some things to be true. And the first is that we're going to encounter people like this for the rest of our lives. People who we care profoundly about, who, you know, maybe care about us for a little bit or whenever it's convenient for them, and then they drop off the face of the earth and never speak to you again. There's going to be people who do deeply care about you, but are too coward to, you know, do anything further than just text you or, you know, ask for nudes or something crazy like that. You know, there's gonna be people like that we'll encounter for the rest of our lives. And it's all about, you know, knowing in our hearts, in our souls, that there are also people that aren't like that. People who go after what they want. People who will look at us like we are the sun and the stars and the moon, and we will encounter those people someday. And it's giving me goosebumps thinking about it, that I know that I'll meet someone like that someday, and I'll look back on this video and be like, Katie, just you wait. Like, just you wait for what you're about to experience. And I want to say that to all of you guys too, like, the future yous, somewhere down the line, 10 years from now, you know, wish they could go back and tell you in your current state that there's so much around the bend. There's so much around the corner. You are not alone if you have laid in your bed at night, your hand clasped over your mouth so no one can hear, and just silent tears as your heart breaks. I've been there. You know, I've been there a million times, and no boy that I've ever encountered will know that they caused me to do that. Bottom line, the person that we are supposed to be with will never be too busy for us. Will never, you know, take days to reply to our texts. Will never ask us only for nudes and not want to see us in the daytime. The person that we are supposed to be with in this world will never be too busy to prove to us that they care. So yeah, guys, that is my spiel. I'll link below the article that I wrote that actually inspired this video, so if you guys want to read it, you know, experience this video in a different medium, I will put the article down below. That is it for this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys all next week. Bye!